December 9th, 2025, Santiago Bernabeu training session. The cameras are rolling, the media is waiting, and Real Madrid's $180 million man doesn't show up. Kylian Mbappé, 17 league goals, 28 goals in all competitions, chasing Cristiano Ronaldo's legendary record of 59 goals in a calendar year. The man who was supposed to save Real Madrid. Instead, he's destroying them from the inside. But here's what nobody is telling you about this crisis. What if I told you that Mbappé scoring 28 goals is the worst thing that could have happened to Real Madrid? That every goal he scores makes the team weaker? That Xabi Alonso is one bad result away from being sacked? Not because Mbappé is playing badly, but because he's playing too well. And what if I told you that there's a secret training ground incident from December 9th that Spanish media buried? An incident that reveals Mbappé's true relationship with his teammates and why Vinicius Júnior hasn't spoken to him in 3 weeks. Before I expose the internal war tearing Real Madrid apart, you need to subscribe to Cyberboot. Because what you're about to discover in the next 13 minutes isn't just about football tactics. It's about the price of genius and why sometimes the best player is the worst signing. Real Madrid have a problem, and his name is Kylian Mbappé. Welcome back to Cyberboot, where we don't just report football drama, we dissect the tactics, expose the power struggles, and reveal the hidden truths that mainstream media won't touch. Today's story is about a paradox, a contradiction that shouldn't exist in professional football, but does. Kylian Mbappé is Real Madrid's top scorer, their most expensive signing, their future, their salvation after the retirement of Karim Benzema and the aging of Luka Modric. By every statistical measure, he is succeeding. 17 goals in La Liga, 28 goals in all competitions as of December 21st, 2025. He's on pace to break records, to cement his legacy, to prove he is the heir to Ronaldo's throne at the Bernabeu. And yet, Real Madrid are in crisis. Not because they're losing every game, not because Mbappé is underperforming, but because the team has become so dependent on one man that when he takes a day off training, the entire system collapses. According to AS and Marca, two of Spain's most reliable football sources, Real Madrid have become a flat team. A team with no creative structure, no tactical depth, no plan B, just Mbappé. And here's where it gets darker. Veteran striker Joselu, who left Madrid this summer, recently gave an interview where he said, and I quote, "Real Madrid is missing a true number 9. Without that reference point, the entire attack has no balance." Think about what he's saying. He's not criticizing Mbappe's quality. He's saying Mbappé is playing in the wrong position, that his presence is causing tactical chaos. But it gets worse. On December 9th, Mbappé missed team training ahead of the Manchester City Champions League match. The official reason? A broken finger and physical discomfort. But the Spanish press reported something far more sinister. They said, if Mbappé takes a day off, there is no alternative. The team has no identity without him. And that's when the locker room started to fracture. Because when your entire tactical system depends on one player showing up, you're not a team. You're a one-man show with 10 supporting actors. And supporting actors don't win Champions Leagues. So the question isn't, is Mbappé good enough for Real Madrid? The question is Real Madrid good enough to survive Mbappé? Let me take you inside the crisis that nobody saw coming. Let's start with the stats, because on paper, this shouldn't be a problem at all. As of December 21st, 2025, Kylian Mbappé has scored 17 goals in La Liga, 28 goals in all competitions, 55 goals in the calendar year 2025. He is 4 goals away from matching Cristiano Ronaldo's legendary record of 59 goals in a calendar year. A record Ronaldo set in 2013 during his peak years at Real Madrid. By any objective measure, Mbappé is having a phenomenal first season at the Bernabeu. So why is this a crisis? Because those 28 goals are masking a deeper structural problem. And that problem is this. Real Madrid's attack has no system. It has Mbappé. Let me break down what's happening tactically. Under Xabi Alonso, Real Madrid are supposed to play a fluid 4-3-3 system. In this system, the left winger, Vinicius Júnior, provides pace and dribbling. The right winger, Rodrigo or Brahim Diaz, provides creativity and width. The striker, theoretically Mbappe, pins back the opposition centre-backs and creates space for midfield runners. But here's the problem. Mbappe doesn't play like a striker, he plays like a winger. Specifically, he plays like a left winger. Mbappe's entire career at PSG was built on one movement. Starting wide on the left, drifting into the channel between the left back and centre back, and using his pace to run in behind. It's a devastating move. It's won him World Cups, Golden Boots, and Champions League glory. But at Real Madrid, that's Vinicius Júnior's space. According to heat maps analysed by AS and Cope Radio, Mbappe and Vinicius occupy the same zones on the pitch for over 60% of the match. Think about that. Real Madrid paid $180 million to sign a player who operates in the exact same space as their existing superstar. And because Mbappe is the bigger name, the more expensive signing, and the man chasing Ronaldo's record, guess who gets priority? Vinicius has been pushed wider, forced to play as a traditional touchline winger, a role he hates and isn't effective in. The result? Vinicius's goal contributions have dropped by 40% compared to last season. And here's the kicker. Mbappe is scoring more, but the team is scoring less. Last season, 2024-25, Real Madrid scored 87 goals in La Liga. This season, through the same number of matches, 68 goals. Why? Because the team has stopped creating collective chances. They just wait for Mbappe to do something magical. And that brings us to the training ground incident that changed everything. Before I reveal what really happened on December 9th, I need your take. Is it ever a bad thing for one player to be too good? Can a team actually suffer from having a superstar who's too dominant? Drop yes or no in the comments, because what happened next will make you question everything you thought you knew about team chemistry. December 9th, 2025. Real Madrid's Valdebebas training complex, 9:30 a.m. The players arrive for the pre-match training session ahead of their crucial Champions League clash with Manchester City. Xabi Alonso is on the pitch. The coaching staff is ready. The media is watching from the designated press area. And Kylian Mbappé doesn't show up. The club released a statement. Kylian Mbappé is receiving treatment for a broken finger and physical discomfort from the previous match. He will train separately and is expected to be available for selection. Standard injury management, nothing unusual. But according to sources at Cadena SER and El Chiringuito, two of Spain's most connected football outlets, there was more to this story. What the club didn't say was that Mbappe's absence caused a training ground crisis. Why? Because when Mbappe didn't train with the main group, Xabi Alonso had no one to replace him with in the tactical drills. Let me explain why this is devastating. In training, teams practice shape and movement. You need 11 players to simulate match conditions. If your star striker isn't there, you put the backup striker in his position so the team can still practice the system. But Real Madrid don't have a backup striker. They have Rodrigo, a winger, Brahim Diaz, an attacking midfielder, Arda Güler, a playmaker. None of them play as a traditional number 9. None of them can replicate Mbappe's movement. So what did Alonso do? He put Jude Bellingham as the false 9 in training. And that's when the tactical house of cards collapsed. Last season, Bellingham scored 23 goals for Real Madrid. He was a revelation, a box-to-box midfielder who arrived in the penalty area at the perfect moment to score crucial goals. But this season, 7 goals, a 70% drop. Why? Because with Mbappe occupying the central striker role and drifting left, Bellingham has been forced to play deeper in midfield. He's no longer making those late runs into the box. He's no longer arriving unmarked at the back post. He's dropping deep to collect the ball and pass it to Mbappe. So on December 9th, when Mbappe missed training and Bellingham was asked to play as the striker in drills, something broke. According to El Chiringuito's sources, Bellingham told Alonso, "I can't play this position anymore. Every time I push forward, there's no space because Kylian is already there." And here's the part that Spanish media buried. Vinicius Júnior reportedly agreed with Bellingham. In front of the entire squad, he said, "We need to talk about positioning. We can't all occupy the same spaces." And who did he mean by we, Mbappe? Since that training session, according to sources at Marca, Vinicius and Mbappe have barely spoken. They still play together. They still celebrate goals. But the chemistry, the connection that makes great partnerships work, is gone. And here's the twist that changes everything. What if the December 9th injury wasn't real? What if Mbappe chose to skip training because he knew the team was about to confront him about his positioning? I'm not saying that's what happened. But when you connect the dots, the timing, the vague physical discomfort excuse, the fact that he played the very next day against Man City and scored, it raises questions. And those questions are tearing the locker room apart. All right, here's my question for you. If you were Xabi Alonso, would you bench Mbappe for one game just to prove the team can function without him? Or would you keep playing him and hope the system eventually clicks? Drop bench him or keep playing in the comments, because Alonso's decision in the next few weeks could determine his entire future at the club. Now let's talk about the tactical warning that nobody in Madrid wants to hear. Joselu, remember him? The veteran striker who played for Real Madrid last season as a backup to Karim Benzema's successor. He left Madrid in the summer of 2025 to join Al Gharafa in Qatar. And in a recent interview with Cadena Cope, he said something that sent shockwaves through Spanish football media. Real Madrid is missing a true number 9. Without that reference point, the entire attack has no balance. The wingers have no one to play off. The midfielders have no target for their passes. It's a structural problem. This is massive. Because Joselu isn't some bitter ex-player. He's a professional who spent a year studying Madrid's system from the inside. And what he's saying is this: Mbappe is not a number 9. Let me break down what a true number 9 does. Pin back the centre-backs. By staying central and occupying both centre-backs, the striker creates space for the wingers to cut inside. When the midfield wins the ball, they need someone to hit with a long pass. A number 9 holds the ball up, brings others into play. On crosses, the number 9 attacks the near post, far post, or penalty spot. They're the reference point for service. Karim Benzema did all of this at an elite level. Even in his final seasons, he was the glue that held Madrid's attack together. But Mbappe, he does none of this. Mbappe is a runner. He wants the ball played into space so he can use his pace. He doesn't want to hold the ball up. He doesn't want to battle with centre-backs. He wants to start his run from deep, receive the ball in the channel, and use his speed to beat the last man. And that creates 3 massive problems for Real Madrid. When Mbappe drifts left or drops deep to collect the ball, the opposition centre-backs can push up. They don't have to worry about someone running in behind them centrally. This compresses the space for Vinícius, Rodrigo, and Bellingham. The pitch becomes smaller, the attack becomes predictable. Real Madrid have world-class crossers: Dani Carvajal, Ferland Mendy, and even Luka Modric when he plays. But who are they crossing to you? Mbappe is 5'10" and hates aerial duels. Vinícius is 5'9", Rodrigo is 5'9". So Madrid have stopped crossing. They've stopped using one of their most effective weapons from previous seasons. This is the most damaging problem. Last season, Bellingham was a ghost in the box. He'd arrive late, unmarked, and score tap-ins. But that only works if there's a striker occupying the centre-backs. With Mbappe drifting wide, the centre-backs are free to track Bellingham's runs. Result? Bellingham's goals have dried up, his confidence has dropped, and Madrid have lost 15-20 goals they would have scored last season. And here's the proof that Joselu was right. The stats don't lie. Last season, with Joselu as backup number 9, Real Madrid scored 87 La Liga goals. This season, with Mbappe as the main striker, 68 goals through the same number of games. That's a 22% drop in goal output, despite having a player who scored 28 goals individually. How is that possible? Because football is a team sport. And when the system breaks, even the best individuals can't compensate. But here's where the story gets truly explosive. What if Real Madrid's board knew this would happen? What if they signed Mbappe anyway because they cared more about marketing than tactics? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Mbappe sells shirts, he sells tickets, he generates social media engagement. And in modern football, that might matter more than winning trophies. Real talk. Do you think Real Madrid signed Mbappe to win trophies? Or to sell shirts? Drop trophies or marketing in the comments. Because the answer to that question explains everything about why this crisis was inevitable. Now let's talk about the moment Mbappe broke his silence. December 15th, 2025, Instagram. 11:47 p.m. Madrid time. Real Madrid had just lost 2-1 to Athletic Bilbao in La Liga, their third loss in 5 games. The pressure was mounting, the media was calling for Xabi Alonso's head, and then Mbappe posted, "We have to change the dynamic and show who we are as a team. This level is not acceptable. We owe more to the fans and to this badge." On the surface, this looks like leadership. The star player taking responsibility, demanding better from his teammates. But in the context of everything we've discussed, this message reads very differently. Let's decode what Mbappe is really saying. We have to change the dynamic. The current tactical system isn't working. Show who we are as a team. We're supposed to be better than this, with me leading the way. This level is not acceptable. My teammates aren't good enough. We owe more to the fans. The pressure is on everyone, not just me. Here's why this post caused chaos inside the Real Madrid locker room. According to sources at El Confidencial and Relevo, several senior players interpreted this as Mbappe publicly blaming them for the team's struggles. Why? Because Mbappe has 28 goals. He's doing his job. So if the team is losing, it must be everyone else's fault, right? Wrong. Dani Carvajal, the Real Madrid captain, reportedly called a players-only meeting the next day. No coaches, no media, just the squad. And according to El Chiringuito's Jose Alvarez, who has sources inside the club, the meeting was brutal. Multiple players confronted Mbappe about the Instagram post. They said, "If you have something to say it to us, not to your 120 million Instagram followers." But here's the really damaging part. Luka Modric, the veteran midfielder and former captain, reportedly said, "When Cristiano was here, he scored 50 goals a season. But he also made us better. Right now, you're scoring goals, but the team is worse." That's not just criticism. That's a legend of the club telling the new superstar that he's failing the real test of greatness, making his teammates better. And Mbappe, according to sources, he didn't respond. He just nodded and left the meeting. Now let's talk about the man caught in the middle of this mess. Xabi Alonso. Alonso is a Real Madrid legend. He won 2 Champions Leagues as a player. He's a tactical genius who led Bayer Leverkusen to an unbeaten Bundesliga season before joining Madrid. But right now, he's on the brink. According to Marca, Real Madrid's board has given Alonso an ultimatum. Win the next 5 games, or you're sacked. And here's the impossible situation Alonso is in. If he benches Mbappe to fix the tactical balance, the board will fire him for disrespecting their $180 million investment. If he keeps playing Mbappe in a dysfunctional system, the team will keep losing and the board will fire him for poor results. He can't win. It's a tactical checkmate. And here's the twist that nobody saw coming. According to sources at COPE, Florentino Perez, Real Madrid's president, privately told Alonso in a meeting last week, "The only non-negotiable player in this squad is Mbappe. Everyone else, including you, is replaceable." Think about what that means. The manager, a legend of the club, has been told that his job is less important than protecting Mbappe's ego. That's not a football club. That's a marketing department that occasionally plays football. And that's why this crisis is about to explode. Let me end with the story that proves everything I've been saying. December 18th, 2025. Copa del Rey round of 32, Real Madrid versus Talavera. Talavera, a third-tier Spanish club, a team that should be beaten 6-0 by Real Madrid's reserve squad. The score is 2-2. Real Madrid are drawing with a third-tier team. The Bernabeu is booing. The fans are holding their heads in disbelief. Xabi Alonso looks like a man watching his career end in real time. And then, Mbappe scores. 88th minute, Mbappe scores again. 3-2 Madrid. Final whistle. Real Madrid survive. Mbappe has saved them again. The headlines the next day: Mbappe rescues Madrid. Mbappe the savior. But here's what those headlines missed. Real Madrid needed rescuing from a third-tier team. That's the problem. That's the entire crisis in one match. Real Madrid have become so dependent on Mbappe's individual brilliance that they can't beat Talavera without him scoring twice in the final 10 minutes. What happens when they face Manchester City in the Champions League? Or Barcelona in El Clasico? Or Arsenal in a potential final? What happens when Mbappe has an off day? Or gets injured? Or gets marked out of the game by elite defenders? The answer is simple. Real Madrid lose, because they're not a team anymore. They're Mbappe, and 10 other guys hoping he does something magical. And that's why Xabi Alonso is one bad result away from being sacked. Not because he's a bad manager, but because he inherited an impossible situation. A team built around a player who doesn't fit the system, but is too expensive and too famous to bench. It's a crisis with no solution, a paradox with no resolution, and it's only going to get worse. So there you have it, the complete truth about why Kylian Mbappé, despite 28 goals, is a problem for Real Madrid. Before you go, I need 4 things from you. First, subscribe to Cyberboot right now. We're the only channel that goes this deep into the tactical, political, and psychological battles happening inside football's biggest clubs. If you want analysis that treats you like an intelligent fan, this is your home. Hit subscribe. Second, smash that like button if this video changed how you see the Mbappé situation. If you learned something about team balance, tactical systems, or the price of superstardom, let me know with a like. Third, get into the comments and answer the 3 questions I asked. Can a player be too good for a team? Yes or no? Should Alonso bench Mbappé for 1 game to prove the team can function without him? Bench or keep playing? Did Madrid sign Mbappé for trophies or marketing? Trophies or marketing? Drop your answers now. I'm reading every single comment. Let's have the smartest football debate on YouTube. Fourth, share this video with 1 person who still thinks signing Mbappé was a good idea. Change their mind. Start the conversation. Real Madrid have a problem, and his name is Kylian Mbappé. Not because he's a bad player, but because he's so good that the entire team has forgotten how to function without him. And in football, dependence isn't strength, it's weakness. Xabi Alonso has 5 games to fix this crisis. 5 games to find a tactical solution to an unsolvable problem, or he's gone, and the next manager will face the exact same nightmare. This has been Cyberboot. Stay tactical, stay informed, and never forget, in football, the best player isn't always the right player.